Hi, Heather.
Hi, Krista.
Um, I would ask how you are, but we've just spent like 2 hours together. Uh, we had call five of module two of Become a Grounded Guide, and we got into some awesome conversations there about
Wow, we kind of went deep, didn't we?
did we
This
ever?
call was, yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was great.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And one of the things that kind of came up was, well, it comes up frequently, and we've talked about it before, but we talked a little bit about deep time and slowing down. And I ended up sharing something on that call. And then a few folks who have been in our programs before asked for a bell on my behalf, just so we could sort of sit and settle with some of the emotion that I had brought up. Um, and yeah, and people were commenting, those who haven't been in a lot of our circles were commenting on how nice it was to be able to have that pause. Um, and yeah, we've talked about the pause before and the importance of it. Um, and it just made me think about how how important it is to be able to, beyond the co-regulation, beyond the the productivity parts of being in community, just like being together is really
Hmm.
nice, and just like being human together. And it was a moment where we were all like, yeah, like I've felt that stuff before, and I have experienced those emotions, and I see you, and I am human here with you in this moment. Um, yeah. So I don't know if you want to riff on that a little bit and how
Yeah.
it maybe connects with your goals for whale song coming up. Because I think that's kind of part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely is part of it. I think what we're sensing and what came up on the call was just this. We don't need another action plan. We don't need another agenda or strategy or like goal setting. We are exhausted. We are afraid. We are in despair and grief and fear and all of that is surfacing because the world's just feeling wobblier than any of us are used to. So
Yeah.
many different ways that's showing up. And in the middle of that, what's the next right thing for us as conscientious, intentional people? And one of the things that's coming up is just like our presence with each other in relationship. And I've just wrote a post, it will have come out before this video comes out, about the importance of friendship right
Mm.
now, like always, but how friendship can transform us. And I've been lucky enough, I just celebrated my birthday and I had a couple of friends come to visit, not together, but separately. So I've had a couple of visits recently and I'm
Mm.
about to go on a little road trip with my siblings and it feels like a rich time of just being with people that matter in my life. And yesterday I had a really lovely coffee with a local friend too. We just sat for 2 hours in conversation and
Mm-hmm.
that presence, I just feel like we undervalue that sometimes, that just being in each other's, and you and I do it largely now on Zoom, but once a
Mm-hmm.
week we sit together and often we end up shedding some tears and doing a little raging and a little bit of like,
All the things. We cram
all
a
the
lot into a
things.
short time.
A lot of laughing and a lot of like just throwing our hands up in some despair and I always leave the call feeling a little better than I came. Like
Same.
regardless, whatever we bring to that space, there is something that gets transformed in the being together. And I think of that too with the friends that have visited. Like they leave, and I feel sad when they leave, but there's also something that shifted for me just being in their presence. It was nothing that we didn't take any action steps to change anything, but it was just,
You didn't come
it,
up with a plan with the
no,
12
no, no
step
plans.
plan or
I'm
no?
pretty plan resistant these days. Um, it's in our willingness to be in the journey together right now and I recognize even as I say that like I feel like we're still kind of in the middle of a loneliness epidemic, that there are many people that don't even
Yeah.
have the privilege of those kinds of relationships, and we're disconnected. So many things have disconnected us.
Yeah.
And we have to find ways to return to that, to be in presence together. And I think it's partly out of that longing. And I've come through a period, having moved to a new place 2.5 years ago. I experienced more loneliness in the last couple of years than I have for quite a long time because I was in a new place where
Right.
I didn't know many people and really felt that longing. And I think it's probably was good for me to return to that longing because I remembered what it was like
Mm.
to feel some disconnection and recognizing how important that is in my life. And so the last few months, I've been trying to name that for myself and trying to be more intentional about how do I bring more of that back in. And so out of that kind of, and I'm always looking for what's the next thing that the center should be offering. And one of the things is the sense that like we've created so much good content and learning opportunities, but what I sense the longing for is more presence and just being together. And so the next thing that we are offering over the summer for 10 weeks is what we're calling Whale Song. And it's a creative space for maturing women, and it's not going to be very content heavy. We're going to give a few like prompts for creativity and journal exercises or something if people want them. But
Hmm.
mostly we're
Yeah.
going to come together and we're going to alternate, I think, between conversation spaces where we can allow whatever needs to surface about our experience being maturing women in a patriarchal world. And then the in between weeks, we're just going to bring our creative projects and be in a space together where we're creating something together. And it doesn't matter what. You could be crocheting or you could be like writing or painting or whatever. We just want to be in presence together and do be in that experience of being human
Yeah.
uh, together. And so that, yeah, that's one of the things that trying to respond to some of that longing in ourselves and what we
Mhm.
witness.
Yeah, and the beauty of like offering that creative space too is that, and especially doing it on Zoom, is that if you are using power tools, you can just mute and the rest of us won't.
I may haul out my power tools at some point.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's so true. And what everything that you're saying, obviously, I agree with. Um, but I think too, like I have argued for a long time that COVID especially kind of atrophied a lot of our like our social interaction muscles. Like, and when those atrophy, I think the fear rises up that you're going to do it wrong, you're going to say something wrong. And then, you throw internet cancel culture into the mix, and it
Yeah.
becomes a really anxiety producing thing to think about just being with another person. Because you're like, am I doing it
Yeah.
right? Am I going to say something wrong? Are they going to be mad at me? Are they going to reject me? All that sort of stuff. Um, yeah. So I think this is also an opportunity to kind of work those muscles out a little bit in a well-held space where, yeah, like, listen, we all say stupid stuff sometimes, and that's okay. um
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're all gonna, we're gonna have different opinions than each other, and that's gonna be okay too. So long as we're
Yeah.
not harming anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of do no harm, like that's sort of the underlying theme is where we come from for most things.
Yeah.
But beyond that, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's funny when you say that, some of those muscles have atrophied. So one of the friends who visited last week for 4 days, she was here, and
Yeah.
her and I, we've known each other for 29 years. We figured out because I was pregnant with my second child.
Right.
And uh, but we've never been home friends. We've always had our friendship lived in public spaces and coffee shops. We worked
Right.
together years ago, and so our friendship grew in the workplace, and then we met for meals and coffee like
Sure.
regularly over the 29 years. But all of a sudden, for her to be in my space for 4 days, both of us expressed a little bit of like, I'm just a little bit anxious about this. Not, it was, we were
Yeah, yeah.
comfortable with each other, but it's like, we haven't navigated this kind of way of being together. It turned out to be absolutely lovely, and both of us really enjoyed
Awesome.
it. But
Yeah.
it is interesting to notice what we've become familiar with in terms of and what feels like our comfort zone, and we maybe not as comfortable anymore being in each other's homes and
Hmm.
having that kind of experience of friendship and connection. And so, yeah, we have to, some of those things we have to get back into practice uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and beyond that, even like even just sharing your creative endeavors, because I know, I mean, I often say that I would rather run naked down my street than let people read my writing sometimes. So there's a vulnerability in that too,
yeah,
but it's,
yeah.
I think it's such a necessary vulnerability to some extent because art is art is one of the places where we connect as
Mhm.
humans, that we, evoke emotion between each other, and yeah, and get to see parts of ourselves that you don't otherwise.
And the other part of it, and that's the reason, one of the reasons why we created the kind of circle that we did, is that our art is so needed right now. And not
Yes.
just the product of our art making, but the
No.
process of our art making is so, because that invokes some of our creative problem solving skills. It
Hmm.
invokes new possibilities for something to grow that we hadn't imagined before. It gets us out of our like fear brain. Like you start
Hmm.
creating something, it's hard to hang on to some of that fear and despair. And
Yeah.
because there's something hopeful about the act of creativity. And you and I both in the last year have been crocheting a lot. It's like, I just need something that's relatively simple that I can put my hands
Yeah.
on that
Uh-huh.
that gets me out of my overthinking brain. And for
Yeah.
me, it was partly last year when I was trying to stop grabbing my phone as much. I needed something in my hands. So the value of our creativity, and again, it does not have to be about the product because we get into
No.
that productivity mode that's very much a capitalist frame. It's about the joyful act of creativity and playfulness and making messes and trying things, experimenting with things, and that's what we want to bring together is that energy and yeah, and fun,
Yeah,
hopefully, and playfulness.
for sure. So come join us.
Yeah.
I think Heather and I are both really excited about this, and we would probably do it with or without more people joining us.
Yeah, you and I, if nobody signs up, we'll just sit here with our crochet hooks and our power tools
That's
and
right. That's right. Crochet hooks and power tools, paintbrushes that are.
yeah,
I want
have
a typewriter now to type on, because that could be fun.
fun.
So
Yeah,
yeah, but do come join us because it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be awesome.
yeah,
Carve out some space for yourself to be with other people and to create and to just, yeah, to be human.
yeah,
Be a little more
yeah,
human with us
exactly.
is the
Together.
invitation. Yeah,
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Excellent. Info's on our website. Heather will put all the links and all the
Yeah, you'll see,
places
you'll
you
find
can
the
find
links.
it. We're keeping it as affordable as we can. It's like $100 if you at minimum to join. It's like $10 a session. That's really inexpensive, but it's pay
Yeah,
what you can. So if you can afford a little more, and to help contribute to our work here at the center, that's also really appreciated.
yeah.
So yeah, that's all. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just one other note, I've made starting to make reference to the fact that I'm going to be back in Europe in the fall. So for our European peeps, come see me in Belgium. Um, yeah, we'll be sharing some of those links for what's
Yeah.
available then.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be exciting too, because you're working with Fanny at Deep Democracy, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
is some juicy, juicy stuff. So
Annie and
yeah,
Frankie and Kuhn and
Frankie
Sonia
and
and
Kuhn,
all good
all
people
our
in
team.
Belgium that we
Yeah.
delight in. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Till next time.